Drishti IAS is pleased to revise its program specially targeting GS Paper 4, which deals with ethics, integrity, and aptitude. In this episode of the program, Ethics Definitions and Concepts, we will discuss ethical dilemma and ethical concerns. So what is an ethical dilemma? An ethical dilemma is a situation of conflict among various principles creating a difficulty in decision making. An ethical dilemma arises when one has to choose between ethical values and rules in order to determine the right thing to do. For example, if a candidate has an interview letter of two companies which are equal in terms of brand, monetary compensation, and work culture, then it creates a situation of dilemma for the candidate. Administrators too face ethical dilemmas many times. This leads to difficulty in decision making and requires conscience to resolve such dilemmas. These dilemmas can be divided into three broad categories. Personal cost ethical dilemmas arises from situations in which compliance with ethical conduct results in a significant personal cost to the decision maker in a difficult situation. Right versus right ethical dilemmas arises from situations of two or more conflicting sets of bona fide ethical values. Conjoined ethical dilemmas arises when a careful decision maker is exposed to a combination of the above indicated ethical dilemmas in searching for the right thing to do. Let us see what are different situations in which a civil servant faces ethical dilemmas. Dilemmas between professional ethics and own personal values. Dilemma due to duty towards the community and being responsive to the government. In her desire to hold on to a job versus the professional ethics. Ethical dilemmas can arise when two equally striking options are justified as right in certain situations. For a public servant attempting to function as a professional, the demands of law, his duty, fairness, due process, it provides a productive ground in which ethical dilemmas arise. Other types of ethical dilemmas in which public servants may find themselves include conflict between the values of public administration, unclear or opposing answer abilities, personal morals and work ethics versus administrative directive, validations for the institutions, professional ethics and director or executive directive, features of the code of conduct. Now, let's focus on the process of resolving an ethical dilemma in administration. Personal self-interest should be secondary to the common good in all situations, especially when such circumstances give rise to conflict of interest. A dilemma should be dealt appropriately by considering and reformulating all the options in a systematic and coherent manner. To resolve such ethical dilemmas, an order or a sequence of logical reasoning is must to integrate and rearrange the process of dealing with ethical dilemmas. The decisions should be guided by the following principles: the provisions of Indian Constitution, democratic accountability of administration, the rule of law and the principle of legality, professional integrity, impartiality and neutrality, larger public good, and responsiveness to civil society. The bureaucracy should be loyal to the country and its people while decision making, considering consequences of such decisions. It is a fundamental ethical duty of civil servants to show a spirit of neutrality and discretion and keep their own personal preferences out of the performance of their duties and responsibilities. Moving on to the next concept, ethical concerns. Ethical concerns occur when a given decision, scenario, or activity creates a conflict with a society's moral principles. It becomes challenging to handle these concerns if no guidelines or precedents are known. For this reason, many professional and industry associations have ethical codes to provide a useful framework to make adequate decisions whenever they face ethical concerns. Looking at some of the ethical concerns associated with public institutions. Administrative discretion. Within the rules and regulations laid down by legislation and within the prescribed procedures, there is ample opportunity for the public official to use his or her discretion. Problem is that the selection of one path of action from among several alternatives is often made on the basis of personal preference, political or other affiliations, or even personal aggrandizement. Administrative secrecy. Secrecy can provide an opportunity to cover up unethical conduct and promote corruption. Nepotism. Appointment of relatives and or friends to public positions, thereby ignoring the merit principle. Information leaks. Leaking official information at a date prior to the public announcement. Disclosure of the information can lead to chaos, corrupt practices, or improper monetary gains. Other concerns: abuse of sick leave privileges, extended tea breaks, violation of office rules in general. Now, looking at ethical concerns in private sector institutions. Ethics in private institutions refer to the ethical principles which should govern business activities. Ethical concerns with reference to employees. Working for multiple organizations, an employee may not be able to work efficiently in more than one place simultaneously. Failing to maintain the privacy policy of the company. Employee has to maintain company's privacy policy and don't share its data to another company or competitor. Offensive communications. Employees are not allowed to use offensive language in the office. Improper usage of official machineries for personal uses. Taking advantage of the travel benefit. Taking excessive leaves beyond the allowed number. Ethical concerns with reference to employers. Favoritism. Employers shouldn't favor a particular person with regard to promotion, salary, or bonus. Sexual harassment of women employees by their employers is a great concern. For example, Me Too movement, Vishaka guidelines in India, etc. Terminating an employee without any notice. And unnecessary delay in paying the employee's provident fund and gratuity. Taking credit for others' work. Employees often work in teams to create marketing campaigns, develop new products, or fine-tune services. Yet, rarely does everyone in a group contribute equally to the final product. If all employees accept equal praise, even though only a select few did the real work, it is wrong. Team members should insist that all employees perform specific tasks to help complete a project. Harassing behavior. Employees often don't know what to do if they see one of their co-workers harassing another employee either mentally, sexually, or physically. Employees often worry about their jobs if they attempt to report a superior for harassment. And quality of products and services. Providing quality below what the organization is claiming is always considered unethical by the society. And now finally, we look at the questions that have been asked in the previous year examinations. In 2018, the following question was asked. In doing a good thing, everything is permitted which is not prohibited expressly or by clear implication. Examine the statement with suitable examples in the context of a public servant discharging his or her duties. In 2016, the following question was asked. Max Weber said that it was not wise to apply to public administration the sort of moral and ethical norms we apply to matters of personal conscience. It is important to realize that the state bureaucracy might possess its own independent bureaucratic morality. Critically analyze the statement. In 2015, the following questions were asked. A mere compliance with law is not enough. The public servant also has to have a well-developed sensibility to ethical issues for effective discharge of duties. Do you agree? Explain with the help of two examples where A. An act is ethically right but not legally, and 2. An act is legally right but not ethically. At the international level, the bilateral relations between most nations are governed on the policy of promoting one's own national interest without any regard for the interest of other nations. This leads to conflicts and tensions between the nations. How can ethical consideration help resolve such tensions? Discuss with specific examples. And finally, in 2014, the following question was asked. Human beings should always be treated as ends in themselves and never as merely means. Explain the meaning and significance of the statement, giving its implications in the modern techno-economic society. And with that, we conclude today's episode of Ethics, Definitions and Concepts. Until next time, stay safe. Thank you. To watch our videos in Hindi, subscribe to our Hindi YouTube channel Drishti IAS.